God is reminding us that, remember that you were a migrant before. He was saying that to Israelites when they were in Egypt, the biblical story. But it is also good for us to remember, those who live in Europe, that once upon a time, not more than 50 years ago, even Europe was oppressed by this tyranny of Nazism and fascism, and there were also a lot of Dutch, French, British who migrated to other parts of the world. And even after the war, when Europe was really devastated by war, a lot of Europeans, I believe even Dutch, traveled to other parts of the world. They traveled to America. There is a huge Dutch-American community in US, in Australia, in Canada, and interesting enough, they have even kept their language. I mean, they still speak Dutch, they still have Dutch tradition even from the past. And when we talk about integration, of course, they are integrated in American or Australian or Canadian society, but yet at the same time, they are a Dutch community as well. So, when God in the Bible speaks about remember that you have been a migrant, it's also good for nations, for individuals, countries, governments to remember that, well, the idea of migration is not something new. The problem of migration is not something new. It has always been there since humanity has been existed. So, in other words, God explicitly speaks of loving the migrants. And when you study Ezekiel and other prophets, God speaks to the Israelites in those days. God was saying to them that do not oppress three major groups in your society. One is the widow, the other one is the orphan, and then he mentioned the third group. He mentioned that migrants. He said, do not oppress the migrants. So, and he said, basically through the prophetic words, he said that even you will pay for the consequences. In the Old Testament, important figures and important personalities, they migrated not because God called them or not because they received a mission from God to travel or migrate. Of course, some of them did, like Abraham. He did. I mean, God spoke to Abraham and said, well, you need to leave your family, leave your country and go to the unknown destination that I'm going to send you, because I have a mission for you in life. So Abraham, the father of faith, the foundation of all these three Abrahamic faith, he was called by God to leave his family and go into this unknown world, because God had a mission with his life. But in contrary, not every, let me say, the man of God or the prophet or important personality in the Bible migrated because of the calling of God. I mean, take a look at Jacob, for instance. Jacob, he left his place. Actually, he was on the run. Why? Because he had a family issue. He was dishonest to his father. He was dishonest to his brother, and because of that, he had to flee. He had to go. And so, when someone goes from one place to another place, another region, is already migrant. Is migrating. So he migrated because of actually his dishonesty to his father, his dishonesty as well, his trickery character to his brother, and then he had to run away. He was a migrant, and yet in the middle of that whole story of Jacob, of being dishonest to his family, yet in the middle of that, God finds something valuable in him, and God chose him, and God changed him. So I don't say that, go on and cheat your family, or be careless, but what I mean is this, that in our modern societies, let's say in Europe, we like to categorize migrants. This migrant, they are political refugees. Well, they are okay, they can stay in our country because they are political refugees. But these migrants, they are migrants that migrated because of family problem or family issues or family reunion. Why do we need them here? We don't need them here. They have been even dishonest in their country, or they had a problem in their country. Why they are here? But we forget, as a Christian, I'm not talking here as a government, because governments have their own thing to do. I'm really looking at this through a Christian perspective. Why don't we just find these kind of patterns in the Bible? That even, Jacob, a cheating, let me express it very, explicitly, a cheating migrant. He cheated, his father and brothers and all, and he left. But yet, in the middle of his cheating, God found him, and God changed him and made him the person to be Jacob, the person who changed to be